Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Peter Obi urges Tinubu to retire and step aside for 2027. The political atmosphere ahead of the 2027 general election has officially turned nuclear recently. In a fiery national address, the presidential candidate of the Nigeria Democratic Congress, Peter Obi, has openly called on President Bola Tinubu to voluntarily retire and step down from power. Obi pointed to the recent resignation of high-profile leaders globally when faced with governance friction, arguing that Aso Rock's economic experiments and rising cost of living crisis have proven that the current administration has run out of ideas, pledging to build an unbreakable opposition alliance to rebuild national unity. So I'm going to play this video so we can actually see what we're talking about, and then we'll come right back to it. Hold tight, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. Let's see.
Experts who have said, why do you think that you need only 4 years? Because there are those who policy and governance experts who have said your definition of 4 years, or your stance of 4 years, will not get the job done. That in the first, just a moment, sir, your first budget is not your own. The second budget, you will struggle to make it happen. Third year, you are still trying to understand the room. Fourth year, you are done. Is this about defeating Bola Tinubu, or this is just a sheer policy goal that you have set up for yourself?
So you can change and put and start driving this vehicle called Nigeria in the wrong direction in 6 months. We are headed in the wrong direction now.
As it is right now.
Yes.
Bola Tinubu is leading us nowhere.
All right, so you heard that. He's saying Bola Tinubu is leading us nowhere. Essentially, he's saying we're wasting our times. Okay, so Sharp Edge Nation. The presidency has immediately hit back, calling Obi's demand a desperate political gimmick from an opposition figure who still doesn't understand the constitutional mechanics of Nigeria's presidential democracy. And the demand they're talking about is asking President Tinubu to retire. But on the street, the debate is roaring. Is Peter Obi's call for Tinubu's retirement a realistic demand reflecting public exhaustion at the pumps, or is it an early campaign strategy designed to rally a fragmented opposition around a single 2027 ticket? Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to get your take on this. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you can be notified when we go live. We will be right back. We're getting ready to have a very good show. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Hi, Chief Oladimeji Abitogun. Esa, is this a gimmick? Is this another gimmick coming from the presidential, or Peter Obi has a point?
Peter Obi has a point, and the Nigerian presidency or presidential spokesperson are not also doing anything wrong by coming at him. Understand that I mean, the political game, the race is becoming feverish. I mean, if you put some measuring device on the whole thing, you find out that the temperature is on the rise, and that cannot be wrong in itself, because the space has to be spiked up. Some people call it hitting the polity. No, this is just putting everybody in the right frame of mind to understand that the clear choice would have to be made between all the leading presidential contenders. However, saying that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu does not have a proper handle, and that you should look around the world wherever any consequential political scandal rises, leaders elsewhere tend to want to meet the entire challenge by throwing up, waving their hands in surrender to the people, not because of anybody's manipulation. What you would call the delicate rope dance. That's not what is applying here. It's about the moral component of politics, because people will tell you that there is no morality in politics. They want to look at it from the prism of legality purely, and that in itself is not proper, because whether you're talking of America, you're talking of Great Britain or United Kingdom, whichever the case you're looking at, the truth of the matter is that when you scrutinize the Nigerian situation closely, there seems to be that, there is that dearth of morality within the Nigerian political space. And it is not something that is starting today. It's something that has always been there. There were people during Nigeria's First Republic, 1960 to 1966. There were political gladiators who just did not mind whatever the cost would be. They just want to ram it through, whether it's constitutional or not. And if you are doing something that is not constitutional, whether that matter is being put on the trial or not, if such issue goes to trial or not, initially there must be that contrition on the part of whoever is affected. Such a person must be contrite. That is the key element there. And then you want to atone. In the meantime, investigate me. What am I doing that is not proper here? While I check myself to some not institutional facility now. Let me just be on the retreat. Can I be contrite for a minute and then let the investigations clear me? You don't find that within Nigerian political space. And if there is anything that is below the mark that seems to call out President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you would ordinarily expect that people would want to really have that moral restraint and say, well, until this clears, what are we seeing in the... I don't want to be a spokesperson for any of these presidential contenders, but truth of the matter, truth be told, there have been issues that have popped up lately, like the one they say, what's it called? Some settlement concerning allegation of heroin trafficking and so-called in the United States, which they said happened between the current Nigerian president and some of his past lackeys. The fact that somebody has not been given criminal conviction does not mean that somebody cannot be convicted in the heart. And if you want to really signpost good moral lessons and examples for generations, contemporary people and generations coming behind, the response, the pushback that we have had concerning such allegations or matters, or as the case may be, really does not address the core issues involved here. And if it is difficult for anybody, because they will think, oh, this is about Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it's beyond him. Now, if you operate in corporate America, because of issues of cybercrime, issues of obtaining financial gains through pretenses and what have you, how are you viewed in your workplace as somebody of Nigerian descent? Whether you operate in the United States, you operate in the United Kingdom, you are in Australia, you are somewhere in the Middle East, anywhere in the world. Why is the new name for racial profiling and Afrophobia, xenophobia? Why is the new name for it is the Nigerian? Why are Nigerians at the receiving end of persecution and hate all over the world? Is the constellation, the way these things are settled, the way they, the way they shape up over time? If we are stereotyped today as some kind of funny people, in my life, I will not touch what is not mine. I mean, I would not want to take what is not mine. I would never, ever. And I know I can vouch for you and some other people that I know within my circle, within my space, that will never be involved in drugs. I mean, narcotic, because when the average Nigerian talks of drug, it does not even distinguish between vitamins, between prescribed medicines, and what have you. Everything to the average Nigerian is drug. But internationally, you mentioned a drug, it is the narco thing that would easily register. So what I'm saying is that you and I don't deal in narcotics, but because some Nigerians, and because of this kind of argument, the moral burden that has come out of the settlement that were traced to Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu before he became president in the past. The average Nigerian is stereotyped. You cannot hide from that fact. And then you look at the sudden disappearance of huge amounts of money from Nigerian treasury, the stupendous wealth that is traced to individual Nigerian privileged actors. I'm not talking of Nollywood actors. I'm talking of political actors. You look at how how they suddenly become, because elsewhere, politics does not mean that you are going to be very, very wealthy. There have been presidents in America in the past who, after office, were, completely broke. That is no crime. It therefore means that, that person is proven as an individual that is morally above board. He went into office not to steal from the common good, from what's it called? The treasury, the common treasury. Living within his means. There have been precedents. People should, apprise themselves of historical facts, especially leadership history, presidential history, royal history. No, we can't even talk about royalty, because one thing that weighs against them, royal institutions, is this reputation that follow them about entitlement, not working hard enough, but through some tinge of imperialism, they can just take from and the tax and live in luxury and what have you. But the one difference that is so clear, a clear difference between royal institutions and leadership that emerge through the popular suffrage extended to the people, is the fact that you cannot live above your means. Today, when people talk of certain individuals, and you know the circumstance of their birth, the trajectory of their economic progress in life, you begin to wonder that where do these people get the money that's giving them so much gusto, giving them so much braggadocio. But you point these things out, people think you are jealous, you are envious, and what have you. And they even want to stamp it with the authority of religion and all kinds of irrational stuff. So we come back to the question. if Obi is saying that, look, because this administration or the leadership, the president of Nigeria has moral burdens, issues, performances that are not really gone so far as to guarantee life, liberty, and prosperity, protection of properties to the people of Nigeria, that he should resign. I think it's not something that is wrong, but instead of engaging in intellectually deep, contestations, you find name calling on the part of people who defend Nigeria's presidency. You have a long list of them. Some of them, when they talk these days, like Daniel, a presidential spokesperson, when he talks these days, the way he even, instead of giving reasonable explanation, the way he wants to, rough it out with TV presenters and all kinds of media personalities. You think, oh, are we on planet Earth? There is, that attitude is so obnoxious and annoying that you continue to wonder that, are these people really trained on how to project the image of their country and their principles? We will talk some more. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, sir. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications, join the conversation in the comment section. Let us know your thoughts on that. We want to know if you think Peter Obi has a point or not. But we're going to move on to some other trendy stories around the world. We'll be right back. Babashir Lawal drops bombshell Tinubu for third time. Let's listen to this video and we'll be right back.
They'll write the results. They allow you to go to the polling unit and pretend that the INEC will do some oju and announce the result that has already been handed over to them, I think, and that's the end. And now the problem would be the reaction of the people to that. And my own assessment is that every Nigerian will just remain in his house, no one trouble.
The candidates will go to the courts.
The candidate will go to their courts, and sons will collect billions of naira and impoverish them further, and then that's the end. And the Nigerians will succumb to what we used to say in the military: with one bullet in a rifle, you can get 1,000 people to surrender. Because nobody wants to take that one bullet. So every Nigerian will just go home and sleep. Some will not even come out that day. But after the election, a lot of people will do some gra to protest and collect money from people and try to protest. After some time, they fizzle out, and that's the end. We prepare for another 4 years. But they can deceive themselves and pretend they are campaigning for every political party. Rigged the primaries now. Up to now, they just wrote names. Every SDP, NDP, all these PPP, they wrote. They are still fighting. There's no party
Even
that.
NDC too.
Especially NDC. Everybody can beat his chest that we did a free and fair primaries. So what moral complaint do they have if Atiku?
Are you afraid that President Tinubu, as it's been alleged by some, that he may go the route of tenure elongation, third term?
Tinubu will go third term. If God gives him the long life to do it.
He will?
He will.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah, he will. What will stop him now? Blind Nigerians or a blind National Assembly of crooks? Tinubu will go third term, subject to his health.
He said third term. He said what will stop him? Ladies and gentlemen, so a massive political firestorm has erupted across the country What they mean by that is on Twitter.
Yeah. So
What else? Anyway, following a shocking television interview delivered by former secretary to the government of the Federation, Babashir Lawal, dropping an absolute political bomb on the 2027 calculations, Lawal boldly asserted that President Bola Tinubu will not only seek re-election in 2027, but will actively push for a third term in office if God grants him long life. Lawal claimed that the political machinery surrounding the presidency is quietly laying the institutional groundwork to extend power beyond the traditional constitutional two-term limit, citing the ruling party's overwhelming supermajority in the National Assembly. Sharp Edge Nation, this statement has sent pure panic through both the opposition camps and legal circles, while pro-democracy groups are already citing Section 137 of the 1999 Constitution to remind everyone that the third term is an absolute illegal impossibility. Critics say Babashir Lawal is giving us a rare, unedited peek into the mindset of Aso Rock's inner strategies. Is this third term talk a genuine constitutional threat being engineered in the dark, or is it just political sensationalism designed to overheat the political ahead of 2027? Ladies and gentlemen, High Chief Oladimeji Abitogun, the Sharp Edge is yours, sir.
Thank you, Ola. There can be any doubt that it's a familiar route to Nigerians. When Nigerians talk these days, you wonder if there is any sense of history in what they say. If, for example, as it had been alleged and well articulated and laid out that former President Olusegun Obasanjo, in spite of his pretensions about and the profile about being a constitutionalist, somebody that believed, I mean, you saw the things he did concerning the dismantling of apartheid in South Africa, things he did to confront the military, which almost cost him his life, agitating for democracy during the Sani Abacha years. And all that, in spite of it all, when that test of sincerity came, he flunked it, because whether you're talking to people that were actively involved then, minus the late Ibrahim Mantu, senator from Plateau State, that was championing in chief that tenure elongation for Olusegun Obasanjo, you will find out that it was a well-oiled campaign, thanks to the ingenuity of people like Okojo Iweala, Nuhu Ribadu. They also mentioned in that connection somebody like Ribadu, who was in charge of EFCC, who worked from inside and Atiku Abubakar himself is vice president, who worked from inside the administration to frustrate the plans of Obasanjo to have tenure elongation. And you had that at least each senator that was going to endorse that plan collected close to 250 million naira to do it. And when you look at the way that, the way things are processed in a wishy-washy to pass through the current National Assembly, both upper and lower chambers of the House, you would, of the Assembly rather, the two houses, you find out that if anybody is now conjecturing, whether for real or by way of academic exercise, it may not be wrong, because it's a road that is so familiar. Okay, if it's not a road that is familiar, and if it's not going to be a possibility that there will be the, I don't want to use the uncouth expressions, but if there won't be that stupid idea, that stupid notion of trying to do that, why would a governor in Osun State who is running on the platform of Accord Party be saying, in spite of the fact that there is a Gbenga Olawepo that is supposed to be the presidential candidate of Accord Party, they rubbished him, pushed him aside totally, and then the governor of Osun State has shocked the entire landscape by saying the candidate of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, namely President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will be the candidate, the endorsed candidate of Accord Party in the next presidential election. So unprecedented in the history of Nigeria. But then the only thing, I mean, in democratic history of Nigeria, but under the military, when Abacha was trying to transmogrify into life president, you will discover that all the five existing five political parties then, famously described as the five fingers of a leprous hand by the late Nigerian politician and assassinated Minister of Justice and Attorney General, Chief Bola Ige. All the five political parties were endorsing Sani Abacha. There was not going to be any, even I remember in those days as a young journalist and then even as a university student, that some people said the grassroots democratic movement that had MD Yusuf and the late Dr. Tunji Braithwaite as their presidential hopefuls were merely pretending to be serious about the race. It wasn't as if they would be strong enough or they would have that spine to stand General Sani Abacha. So if Adeleke in Osun State is endorsing this president, what else? And then if you have had Nyesom Wike and Fubra, that used to be his prodigal son, prodigal political son, coming back now to say there is a rainbow coalition that will produce Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the candidate, presidential candidate for both PDP and APC in Rivers State. What else do you think cannot happen? So if somebody is playing with the idea, whether it is real or not, whether it is what's it called? Whether it is a political tack on his part or whether it's being reckless, you never can tell. Babashir Lawal, the former secretary to the government of the Federation, has said in several interviews and at various times that he and Bola Ahmed Tinubu are good friends or were good friends. In fact, it's on record that he was the one who dropped the first 100 million naira fee, expression of intent or whatever, to the president on behalf that coordinated the initiative that Bola Ahmed Tinubu should run. The point at which they disagreed was when it became a national issue and anger that there would be a pairing of a Muslim ticket on the presidential race. And so you don't know what they have ever shared together, what vision they worked on, what core philosophy got them together, what ideology, do they still subscribe to the same ideology? If Ola, with all the way that you know me, that you've been so close to me, all the issues in my life that you have always been private to, if you say some things about me and some people are now doubting the veracity of what you're saying about me, would that not also be laughable? Would it not be ridiculous? You can't know a man than somebody in his inner circle. Babashia Lawal may know more than what he's telling us. And it is good that he has crowed at this point. We all should listen, and we should give them close monitoring. Would
Pay
it be
attention.
easy for Bola? Yes, we should pay attention. Would it be easy for Bola Ahmed Tinubu to easily manipulate Nigerians? I don't even know the exact population of the country, so it's difficult for me to say 230 or 240 million. But whatever the number, the population of Nigeria could be, we all must pay attention, both home and abroad. And if this is going to happen, we make sure that the Constitution prevails. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to Babes in the chat. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications, join the conversation. We want to know your thoughts. Is it possible? Is he going to do it? What's your prediction? Is President Bola Tinubu going to attempt a third term? What's your prediction? We would like to know.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think he would want to do it.
No, I'm asking. I'm asking the audience.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm asking the audience. Just join us in the conversation in the comment section so we can move on to the other trendy stories around the world. We'll be right back. Welcome back. The 1.3 billion naira fake federal agency scandal hits Abuja court. The anti-corruption debate in Abuja has taken a wild, unprecedented twist today. July 27th, the Federal High Court in Abuja has formally opened proceedings on the infamous fake agency saga, where an alleged fraudster managed to forge official presidential seals, open 33 commercial bank accounts, secure office space in the federal secretariat, and miraculously get a completely fictional entity. The Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council allocated a staggering 1.3 billion naira in the 2026 national budget. As the trial kicks off today, the Director General of the Budget Office has issued a frantic statement insisting the money was blocked before public expenditure occurred. But opposition critics are demanding to know how a fake agency passed through Aso Rock scrutiny. The Budget Office and the National Assembly undetected. Sharp Edge Nation. This story sounds like a Hollywood movie script, but it is happening right inside a national capital. You have a ghost agency getting official budget allocations while ordinary civil servants and university lecturers are fighting over minimum wage and allowances. Is this massive scandal the result of a catastrophic bureaucratic incompetence, or does it expose a deeply entrenched system of ghost procurement designed by high-level insiders? Ladies and gentlemen, High Chief Oladimeji Abitogun, let's have your Sharp Edge analysis, sir.
Thank you again, Ola. You know, this story has been on both the national and international political arena in the last few weeks. On purpose, we decided not to join the fray because a golden rule in journalism also is that when you are in doubt, you do not publish. And notwithstanding the mad rush to want to break the headlines, the stakes are so high today with the phenomenon of the internet and new media barracuda. We want to outdo each other, but for us, it is always better to get it and get it right. But let me say this. I find it curious that even at the same time that this could be going on, I don't know which should take precedence. Is it a done deal that the preliminary investigations have now been concluded and the prima facie has been established that this guy is he's a fraudster. Is he really a smart aleck? Is he a con man? Have we all drawn that conclusion? Has the legal system really drawn the curtain on that kind of profile for this man? However, again, you also, if anybody, because the ferocity with which presidential anglers came after this so-called prince, Adeniyi Adeyemi Matthew, the way they came after him and painting a picture of a dented past in his antecedents, claiming that he attended the Ladoke Akintola University of Technology in Ogbomoso, or your state, LAUTECH. You would, because that narrative in itself achieved more than one thing. The attempt at it achieved more than trying to paint him as somebody that's got a track record or notoriety of being dubious and being fraudulent. It does more than that. Because you look at the university attached to him that they said produced him. Honestly, you know certain universities in Nigeria and all over the world that have almost become like a production factory for this kind of antics. And when that university's name was mentioned, we began to wonder, oh, what could this be leading to? However, if anybody is going to use that stretch as well, of course, it's been said by a notable Nigerian publisher, journalist, activist, that years ago, living in Atlanta, Georgia, as a lawyer, the man that has been elected to have collected about initial 400 million naira, which so-called Prince Matthew said was not directly paid to him. He mentioned a certain Tanimola, whom he alleged must have died or must have been assassinated in a gruesome circumstance. Even saying that the hotel where the guy used to stay became something that was target of arson and all that. I'm just laying the foundation so that people will understand that we've been following this. However, at the same time that this man is being arraigned before a law court, Gbajabi Amila still serves in office as the chief of staff to the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And that publisher I mentioned said Gbajabi Amila was was supposed to be arraigned for criminal prosecution for defrauding certain clients while he was a lawyer in Atlanta, Georgia. And then the next chapter was that Gbajabi Amila never really stood trial, faced answer to the allegations in American law court, surfaced in Nigeria, and then got beatified or canonized as a saint, became Speaker of the House of Representatives, and now today he is Chief of Staff to the President of Nigeria. All this is almost like why Peter Obi was asking President Tinubu to step down. You know, people don't look at it that everything should not be legalistic. If you are morally conflicted, you don't want to address that issue, heck, this thing going ahead. At the same time, the House of Representatives committee or appropriate committee on matters relating to this is holding a hearing. They have even mandated the Inspector General of Police earlier today to make sure that the so-called Prince Adeniji Adeyemi Matthew is produced before the National Assembly, and other principal actors, including the Auditor General of Nigeria, has given evidence before the August Committee of the House of Representatives. The point I'm making here is that, is this trial not being rushed? We haven't had the report of the presidential directive to the ICPC, the Independent Corrupt whatever practices commission in Abuja, to do due diligence investigating the matter. And everywhere there seems to be so much confusion. There is this discordant tune going on this matter, and I want us to approach the issue with caution. Until we get to the end of it, we will never know what has happened. Now, on a final note, have things like this ever happened in Nigeria before? Sure. There have been times that people were lured from overseas. Oh, come and pick contract paper in Nigeria. And they get there. They are shown into designated offices in the presidency, in the ministries. See, I was a big time reporter around federal, what's it called? The federal ministries and parastatals in Abuja. And things happened. Now, some of the people that were lured into Nigeria to come and collect the contract papers, what have you, they were shown real officers. And they parted with their hard-earned hard currencies. Coming back to follow up and to see if, and then they met with void. They met with nothing. Those people running those, the show, they were nowhere to be traced. And there have been a chief of army staff in Nigeria, and particularly Bameyi, who fell victim to, parted with millions of dollars through the antics of conmen in Nigeria. Why would you think that somebody like Obasanjo would launch after Maurice Ibekwe after he became member of House of Representatives? Because of their past. What did the Fred Ajuduas of this world, what did they do? Getting musicians to give them accolades and encomiums everywhere. And they were killing people silently, defrauding them of their hard-earned money. I do not know until we get to the end of the investigations and possible trials if the so-called Prince Adeniji Adeyemi Matthew actually is a con man. And then the enablers within the system, how he got allocated space within Federal Secretariat in Abuja, how he got support staff of close to 300 to run his show. And he was making appearances around high-profile personalities within the government and administration. So if, because of all these things, people are in doubt as to the direction of leadership in Nigeria, the leadership recruitment standard and processes itself become something we must inquire after, not just in a philosophical way, but also in a pragmatic way, and in a way that that ensures that everybody has a change of heart. And do not forget, one of the major campaign promises of the APC administration then was that they would curb culture of impunity. Is this impunity taken too far? The process that we are following here will tell at the end of the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Join the conversation in the comment section. We're going to run into the Sharp Edge special. So hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Sharp Edge News TV. Sharp Edge Nation, look at the wild theater in Nigerian politics today. In the opposition camp, Peter Obi is standing at the podium telling President Tinubu it's time to pack his bags and retire from politics. But on the other side, Babashir Lawal is telling us to forget 2027 altogether because Tinubu is actually planning for a third term. And while these politicians are arguing over 2 terms versus 3 terms, someone managed to create a fake government agency on paper and collect 1.3 billion naira in the national budget. So as a veteran journalist, sir, speaking to our audience, tell me, when the elites are planning for extra terms and fake agencies are collecting billions in the budget, how is the ordinary Nigerian supposed to believe that anyone in Abuja is actually focused on fixing the economy? Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our final segment of the hour, the Sharp Edge News Special. Let's welcome back the publisher, editor-in-chief, and I chief, Oladimeji Abitogun, for our concluding dialogue. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you very much, Ola. I must express appreciation to you and our viewers all over the world for joining us to do this every week. We do not take it for granted that you have really impacted this vision of being part of our world, just making sure that we are not watching things or we are not listening to events and history from a tiny corner of wherever we are. So allowing us into your devices every week is deeply and greatly appreciated. Now, it's not just the issue of, the trending issues that we have addressed earlier on that become worrisome. But what do we make of this when people are not enthused and not really excited about owning whatever government runs the show in the country? Then there is a problem. And how do they get to that point where they begin to feel so lethargic, so indifferent, and almost removed from whatever is going on? You would see that demography, that is, population figures around the country, will be inflated for no reason. For example, the Independent National Electoral Commission today said they have drawn the curtain on registration exercise for the oncoming election. Now, they don't look at the implication, but one thing is so glaring. In the best of places, the new registrants, people that made it to, that have just been captured in the new voters register, maybe 100,000, 150,000, and what have you. But two states stand out. Edo State, where the governor had been bragging that, he's able to put maybe 2 million votes or whatever on the ballot for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is one of the states, even with higher number of registered new voters than Lagos and Kano. Also, the current Minister of Works, David Umai, had also been bragging about what figures will come from Ebonyi State. Ordinarily, Ebonyi does not have that kind of population density, but then he's saying, they are going to turn, and then they're turning out with big figures on the new register. But by and large, something gives me concern. You say a country has a population of 230 million, maybe estimated, because it's been a while since Nigeria had authentic and real population census. But you say a country has 230 million citizens. On the best of day, not even up to 40 million people ever vote. To me, it is demonstrating and really deconstructing the lies that have always been concocted about how populous Nigeria is as a country. And that is something we must really work at. Now, when you begin to cook up population figures, and then in the name of these people, money or monies or whatever is appropriated, only to be one individual will steal 190 billion naira in Nigeria, no azus, and you think it can just continue like that. So if it now comes to 44, I mean, the lies being told that a former CEO of the National Social Investment, whatever in Nigeria, took 44 billion naira, which she came out, which she has been protesting that. She never did that. As a matter of fact, that she was the whistleblower. But they removed her from her office. I don't know, somebody, Edu, that was the minister there, that was perpetuating all these things, never made to face any prosecution. She did it cleanly, and you said people would be ready to die for that kind of country, the country where an individual will steal so much, and the military or the average soldier will be paid a pittance of 40,000 naira. That 40,000 naira just got revealed to an upward amount of 100,000. But is that the cost, I mean, of the life of a soldier expected to die for his or her country? So if you now don't find any excitement about people wanting to join the military, people wanting to die for the cause of the country, people who really want to turn the other way without the vested, I mean, interest they used to have in the country, you do not blame them, Ola. Now, to address this kind of thing, Mr. President came out and said, oh, Nigeria is going to have additional 4 divisions to the existing 8 divisions of the army. And they are saying they will recruit about new 28,000 soldiers. If you can do all that you want to do. If you do not have respect for the dignity of the human person in Nigeria, honestly, it will just be efforts in futility. And so the call we're making here is that there must be a robust and all-round attempt at fixing Nigeria. If Peter Obi is saying, Mr. President, step aside, he hasn't committed any crime. Mr. President has that onerous responsibility to say that, okay, Peter Obi, I'm going to show you. I will step up to that place and provide authentic and true leadership to Nigerians. What do we see? Even at the time when David Umahi, as Minister of Works, has been fingered in a scandalous and miraculous death of a 26-year-old staff. Today, the president wrote a letter celebrating him as somebody that is always on site, not minding the scandal that this person is expected to explain the circumstance of the death of that 26-year-old Nigerian lady. Everything is about politics. Oh, I mean, you are facing this indictment, whether you are my chief of staff or a minister in my administration. I will have to praise you. It's almost like Tinubu is cutting his nose to spite his own face. He's cutting the nose to spite his own face. There is no moral rectitude. There is no, contrition. There is no sobriety. Just push it down the throat of Nigerians. We can pile all the debts. We can do all we can. Nigerians will not do anything because we have the force of arms to hold them down. And then you say one thing, they say, go to court. After all, what does the Bible even say about this over-reliance on the strength of law? Because through the force of law, we have witnessed so many atrocities in the history of humanity. Commodification of the lives of black people as slaves was done with the force of law. So you want to rely entirely on law. Law does not do anything other. Such litigations, you will win on technicality, but it does not really elevate by way of righteousness. Most times, one subject that has always interested me is to have the close scrutiny of a tyranny of law and lawyers as a field of study. Now, which is why the Bible will conclude, letter kill it. That is law, kill it. It can't not just be law. No. How about moral rectitude? As we offer this on the plate as a good diet, as a good menu for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and every leader in Nigeria, including high chiefs, minor chiefs, kings, queens, and what have you. We are also throwing that challenge at everybody that just look at what you can do within your own space to make things better. Because we think, we're perpetuating all kinds of getting away with it. That moment will come that the people would want to say, we can't be pushed any further. And when that day comes, what would anybody say about you and I? This is what is involved in this, Ola.
Yes, sir. I have Babe Wings, one of my paddies in the chat. She said he will never step aside, even if he's unwell. What do you think about that, sir?
Yeah, I agree perfectly with what the position taken by this member of our audience. After all, where is Paul Biya? How old is Paul Biya, the president of Cameroon today? That guy is going to die standing, appending all kinds of forged and fake signatures to papers wherever he's hiding in the world. So whether he's unwell or is well, if people have turned, if they are obsessed with power and not recognizing the limits of their limits of their capabilities, they would die for what is not even worth dying for. But if you say Nigeria has more than 230 million people and you think you are the only person that can fix that, that's all a lie. It's all a ruse. And people have been trying to bloody the nose of, what's his name, Peter Obi, that he has claimed he can fix Nigeria within 4 years. I don't know why anybody should want to bloody him, because really, somebody has been on the saddle in both Uganda, Museveni in Uganda, for more than 40 years now. In Cameroon, Paul Biya, for donkey years. Have they been able to fix anything? So if they cannot fix anything with eternity, who told you to that that trend cannot be reversed? That somebody may be able to, may be able to do it within 4 years. After all, in that same Nigeria, we were on a roller coaster about transition. 9 years under Yakubu Gowon, Awolowo had to resign from Yakubu Gowon's government because he said this is an endless transition program that will lead to nowhere. Under Babangida, we witnessed it. But look at Abdulsalami Abubakar. In spite of all the prayer, within 1 year, At least I was reporting in Abuja when that happened. 1998 to 1999, no more, no less, he was able to do it in a year. So if some people are saying there will be time elongation for somebody, 8 years may not even be enough. That is them confessing how sinister and dark their heart is to you. If somebody says, at least if I cannot even fix it all, I can give a new direction within 4 years, who says that cannot happen?
Wow. All right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. Shout out to Babe Wins in the chat. We've delivered another one. Hopefully, you've been enlightened, educated. Join the conversations in the chat. Help us hit like, share, subscribe, share. Thank you so much. We'll see you on the next one. Take care. God bless.